2004 Scion TC AC compressor replacement. I'm Brian Essex from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the process for replacing that. So the first step we need to do is actually remove the Freon from the car. So I've already done that off camera. I hooked it up to the machine and vac the Freon out of it. If you guys don't have access to a AC machine or whatever, I recommend you take it down to your local repair shop and have them remove the Freon refrigerant for you. And then from the rest of the job you can do yourself at home. So after you get the refrigerant removed, go ahead and rack your vehicle up. If you're doing this at home, you're going to want the front end up as high as you can in the air. And so on this job, we're just replacing the compressor. It just stopped working electrically, but mechanically it was working fine before it stopped. So I don't suspect that the AC compressor itself has detonated and put contaminants through the system. If you suspect that, then you would have to replace a lot more parts, like the receiver dryer, which is actually built into the condenser here. But since mine just failed electrically, I'm just going to replace the AC compressor. And to get started, okay, now that we got the Freon removed, what we're going to do is we're going to follow these hoses that go down to the compressor. So this hose here, the manifold hose, and we're going to remove the 10mm bolts that hold the lines on. So you can see my extensions going down to 1 right now, and we'll remove the 2 lines going to the compressor after you got the Freon removed. So after unbolting the AC manifold hoses and setting them aside, the next step is to lift the vehicle up. Now the vehicle is up, you want to turn your wheel fully to the right, and then you're going to remove this inner shield here. So mine has clips and bolts in combination. Take those out, and you're going to remove this shield here, and then you're going to remove this shield here. So you're going to just follow the perimeter and take the bolts out. And it looks like it splits in half right here, so you're going to take the right side shield off. So next we need to remove the belt, and the the belt tensioner is right here. So if you look in my mirror, you can see a 19mm little bolt looking thing in here. That's where you put your 19mm ratchet and socket. A short ratchet socket and a long ratchet on there, and I'll show you how I get it out. So I'm going to use a short 19mm like this with a standard ratchet. Put it on the bolt, which is pretty simple to find. So I'm going to rotate it as far as I can to the right. This is under a lot it has quite a bit of tension. So what I did was I took a socket that fits over my handle of my ratchet and a pretty long extension, and just slipped it over. Now it's now it's really long. So now you just push it to the right clockwise, and then that'll loosen the tension on the belt, and you can slip the belt off. So after slipping the belt off the AC compressor, I'm leaving it routed the way it is. I'm even going to leave my ratchet in here. And now what you can do is you can reach over the top and you can unplug your electrical connector, and you just have a little squeeze tab. I just squeezed it with my thumb and pulled it off. And now you're going to go ahead and remove the bolts, the 4 bolts to hold the compressor on. So you're going to remove one here, one above, and then one right over here. So remove those 4 bolts, and then when you remove the last bolt, be prepared to catch it. It'll fall on. So this is the electrical connector I was talking about. You just push the little squeeze tab, unplug it, and then once you get your 4 bolts out, the AC compressor will drop out. So now what I like to do is I like to pour any of the oil that was in here to dump it out. So there was maybe an ounce of oil came out of it, maybe. So I'm just going to let this sit there and drain. So I have my new compressor here, and you always want to go over the instructions on how much oil. Some compressors come with oil, some don't come with oil, and you need to know. So you can go over the instructions, procedures of what the manufacturer of the compressor that you get, how they want you to handle it. So some of them are different. So I'm going to go over this little manual real quick and see what they want me to do. This compressor already comes with the proper amount of oil installed into it that they want. So what they want me to do is mount this back into the car and then put my lines on. And then what they want to do before you put the belt on, they want you to hand crank the clutch, engage it and crank it by hand at least 10 revolutions. What that does is it pumps the oil out of the cylinder head of the AC compressor, and that way when you first start it up and kick it on, the oil's been removed and it doesn't hydro lock the new compressor and actually cause damage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put it back in place, install the 4 bolts, and plug in my electrical connector. And then after I got my electrical connector, I'm going to lower the car back down, install the hoses, and I'll put new O-rings. It comes with it in the kit on the hoses. So definitely don't reuse the old O-rings, put new ones on. And then I'm going to lift the car back up, and then I'll crank the compressor around by hand, roughly 10 times or so. And after that, I'll put the drive belt on and put the lower shields back on. So now the compressor is remounted, and the lines, the manifold lines or hoses are remounted with new seals. Now I'm going to lift it back up, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do where I hand pump the oil out of the compressor. So now I'm going to hand pump the compressor by grabbing the end of the clutch and just spin it, about 10-15 times, and what that does is it gets the oil moving and pumps it out of the cylinder head of the compressor. That way when you first put your belt on and fire it off with the Freon in it, it doesn't all collect in the compressor and cause a hydro lock. So it kind of gets the oil and stuff moving. So after you've done that a few times, now what you can do is torque over your wrench and slip your belt back on, and then you can go ahead and put your lower shields back on. Now you have the belt back on and the shields bolted back up. The only step left is to charge up put it under a vacuum for a while, and then charge up the AC, and that'll complete the AC compressor replacement on a 2004 Scion TC. I'm Brian Essert from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe, and thank you again.